Imagine you're sitting in your interview room with 2 to 3 panelists in front of you. You have a seat, and the first question that they ask you is, "So, tell me something about yourself." And you freeze because you have absolutely no idea about what you need to say in order to crack this interview with this first question itself. If you've been in a situation like this particular video is just perfect for you. Welcome back to the Marketing Empress. With this video, we are starting a new series on this channel which focuses on answering commonly asked interview questions. Now, mind you, these may not be applicable to a lot of people because we'll have a set of questions which is going to be universal in nature and few which are going to be specific to marketing. So, of course, I have a long list of questions prepared on how we need to answer these particular questions, how I have answered these questions and cracked important interviews in my life. So, I have something really exciting planned for you guys. But of course, there's a catch. Currently, the Marketing Empress is at 114 subscribers. And I need the subscriber count to reach 130 before I release the next video in this series. Guys, trust me, this series is going to be really helpful and 16 more subscribers is not a lot to ask for. So ensure that you share this video with your friends and make them subscribe to the channel because it's going to motivate me to make the next video in this series. And I think I'll also disclose the topic of the next video in this particular video itself. The next video will focus on the question, why marketing? Now, this particular video, the one that I plan on releasing after I reach 130 subscribers, is going to be really helpful to all those engineering candidates or any other background candidates who have absolutely no background in marketing but wish to get into marketing. So, this particular question is bound to come into your interview, so you need to be prepared for it. And of course, I'm here to help you guys prepare for it. So, please ensure that the Marketing Empress reaches 130 subscribers as soon as possible. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the content of the video. So, this video contains answers to the following questions. Number 1. Reasons behind asking this question. How should experienced candidates answer this? How should freshers answer this? And lastly, we'll look at an outline to perfect your answer to this question. Let's look at each of these in detail. Reasons behind asking, tell me about yourself in an interview. Okay, so note that most likely the interviewer will have your resume right in front of him or her. Okay, so when they're asking you this question, they do not want to know something that is already present in your resume, guys. That's the biggest mistake that you make. So, what is actually the reason behind asking this question? Mainly, the reasons can be divided into 3 categories. The first one is to understand what is most important to you. Now, whenever they ask you this question about tell me yourself, and the first thing that you tell them about is, your hobbies. So, say for example, you say, I love singing and I want to be a singer in the future or something like that. Now, in the interviewer's mind, the question that arises is that maybe this person is more interested in singing and the job that is on offer right now is secondary to him or her. Now, does that really mean that you start the answer with talking about, like you just start the answer talking about the job? No, that may not actually work in your favor because it sounds a little desperate and it sounds like a made up answer. So that should not be the way to go about it. Of course, we will get the perfect answer in place by the end of this video. But for now, let's look at the other 2 reasons as to why this question is asked. The second reason behind asking this question is to understand your communication style. Now, mind you, they are not interested in knowing about how well you can communicate in English. So, most often than not, that may not be a criteria to select you or, not select you in this particular interview. But they just want to see how well can you communicate your thoughts openly. Lastly, the reason behind asking this question is to get an idea about how well can you sell yourself. If you cannot sell yourself, how on earth are you going to sell the company's products in the future? So it's a perfect way for the interviewer to come to know about how well can you sell or offer yourself to the interviewer. How should experienced candidates answer, "Tell me about yourself" in an interview? Now note that the interviewers are actually expecting experienced candidates to be a little more polished when answering this question. That is because you guys have already interviewed at some places and you may have a basic idea about how to go about this. So the most important thing that you need to have to ace this question is, in capital letters, know your resume inside out. Guys, I cannot stress on this enough. It's extremely important to know your resume inside out with every little detail. So this is the way you should actually go about answering this question. First, start off with a little detail about yourself. This need not be professional and ideally should be something on a personal front. Then you move on to the professional side where you're talking about your work experience. Note that when you're listing companies or your things, whatever you've done for that particular company, ensure that it's latest from the top to the very first company that you were a part of. Another important point that I want to note here specifically is that if in case you have more than 2 years of work experience, I suggest skip out on those internship experiences. They may not do you any good. So it's better to only focus on those 2 years of full-fledged work experience because that's going to count a lot more. Now, another mistake that I've seen a lot of experienced candidates do is that they will only talk about what their role or designation was in a company and the name of the company. That's about it. So I worked as an assistant marketing manager at XYZ company. Now, understand guys that the interviewer can see these details right on the resume. They do not want to know this. They want to know your role and your achievements in regards to that role. The best way to go about answering this, and that's a tip that I definitely recommend you guys to consider, is that go and look at the JD of the job that you have, the job description, okay? Look out for these minor things or minor qualities that they're looking out for in the candidate that they plan to hire. For example, the JD mentions we need an innovator in our team, alright? Now, when you're introducing yourself, you're telling people about the achievements that you've had in your previous company. Ensure that you say something that is going to link back to the innovator part in the job description. This ensures that you are the right candidate to be perfectly fit to get hired and then, become someone who is going to be responsible to bring in innovation within the team. Now, the next part is to ensure that your overall answer of "tell me about yourself" is divided in the ratio 80:20, which is 80% of your work experience, your academics, etc. and 20% definitely needs to go beyond your work, which will focus on your personal details. How should freshers answer "tell me about yourself" in an interview? Now note, the interviewer is not expecting you to know it all. They know that you're a fresher, you've not taken a lot of interviews before or you've not given a lot of interviews before, and hence you may not be extremely well prepared for this. So keep this in your mind guys, that you will not be directly competing with a work experience candidate, even if you're a batchmate of someone who has 2 to 3 years of work experience and you're a fresher. You may not be directly competing with that guy or girl, so do not worry at this point. But what's important to note is that you will of course be competing with another fresher in your batch, right? So in between both of you, you have to ensure that your answer stands out and the interviewer chooses you over the other person. Now what you require to ace this particular question is to have a long list of achievements that you've accomplished so far. What this includes is, say for example, again going back to the JD explanation. If the JD mentions that we require a team player in the team, alright? Now team player is the part that you need to highlight in your mind. What is it that you've done in your past that can be related to a team player category or a team player characteristic, right? So say for example, you've headed a committee in a college festival or something like that where you managed to show your team spirit. Now that is something you need to talk about in this particular question itself, guys. You may not know what the rest of the interview would pan out like, so ensure that your most important achievements are highlighted in this particular question. The ideal way to start this answer is to start with your education. Again, go from latest to the very first one. Please do not include your 10th standard details. I secured this percent or something like that. Of course, if you're a rank holder, you should definitely point that out because it shows that you've always been an achiever or something like that. But besides that, talk about your education and then move on to any sort of personal details or personal achievements, your hobbies, something that you've done on the side or something like that. Now, another question that pops up in a lot of fresher minds is whether I should talk about my certifications on the personal front. So say for example, you have taken up a certification course in calligraphy, okay? And you do not want to include it because you feel that it's a marketing interview. I mean, who's going to be interested in knowing about my artistic side? Guys, this is a big mistake. Ensure that you put in your artistic side right in front of the interviewer. This is extremely crucial because out of the 10 candidates who may be interviewing for the same job, 8 out of 10 candidates would have the digital marketing course certification possibly that you have. Okay, so it's going to be the same thing that they have and you have. But they may not have an artistic side. And trust me when I say this, while marketing may not only revolve around creativity, it's going to still become like the creativity part is still going to be very much important. So ensure that your creativity is also highlighted in this particular answer. In general, your answer needs to get divided in the 60:40 ratio. 60 is your academics and your other certification courses or something like that. And 40% is around your personal growth. Now, personal growth is anything that you're doing without the professional tag attached to it. Lastly, let's look at the outline to perfect your answer to this question. Now, there may not be a one-size-fits-all situation out here because, of course, tell me about yourself is an answer that is very subjective and will differ based on what you guys, require or what have you achieved so far, etc. But I have something for you guys that can really help you in creating or devising that perfect answer for tell me about yourself. I have an outline for you guys that comprises of 4 steps that you need to keep in mind in order to answer this question correctly. You can find the outline to this particular question's answer on my blog, themarketingempress.com, and I will link the link to the blog in the description box so that you guys can go check it out. Lastly, I have something really more amazing for you people who've been watching this video right till the end. And I wanted to ensure that I put it right towards the end because it's only applicable for people who really care and are watching the video right till the end. So, I will also be leaving my Instagram handle on the Marketing Empress in the description box. What I want you guys to do is keeping the outline in mind. You guys can send me a direct message on my Instagram handle wherein I will analyze your answer to this particular question and suggest recommendations and edits. Trust me guys, any sort of recommendations or edits are going to be really helpful for the upcoming placement season and you need that additional push to come in. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something out of it. Do not forget, we need to reach 130 subscribers before the next video in the series gets released. So ensure that you share this video with your friends and promote it any way that you can to get me those 16 subscribers so that the next video comes up pretty soon. Until next time, bye bye.